When the sun comes back and the first bell calls, follow the drinking gourd that the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Now follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Now the river ends between two hills. Follow the drinking gourd. There's on the river on the other side. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Where the little river meets the great big one. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd.
We hold this truth to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Hello everybody, and that was a small acting. It's about a quote from the Declaration of the Independence in 1776. Nina, can you translate for me,
Thì đó vừa rồi là một cái hoạt cảnh nhỏ về thể hiện ra cái nguyên tắc. Can you say it? Can you repeat it?
Okay, that's what a quote from the Declaration of Independence in 1776 in America.
Thì đó là một cái câu trong cái tuyên ngôn độc lập của Mỹ vào khoảng cuối thế kỷ 18. Thì là một cái hoạt cảnh nhỏ để thể hiện ra tinh thần của tụi con ngày hôm nay.
Mina, you don't have to translate everything, just summarize. Okay.
Let's move on. So, the quote was given a message about how people have everything on their hand to be self-evident, to have happiness and freedom with all civil rights. But on reality, everything was opposite. in America that time, the black Americans didn't have any rights or didn't have happy or freedom because they were treated very bad from the whites.
Thì cái câu đấy tức nó mang hàm ý là tất cả mọi người đều có trong mình, đều được quyền có được sự hạnh phúc và tự do. Nhưng mà đó là về mặt lý thuyết, nhưng mà trên thực tế thì những người da màu ở Mỹ không hề có một chút nào gọi là tự do, hạnh phúc hay là bất cứ cái quyền giống như bất kỳ cái quyền bình đẳng nào cả.
The first song we have sang is one of the songs from the slavery. So now we're gonna finding what is slavery, and I'm gonna start.
Thì cái bài hát vừa rồi là về chủ đề nô lệ. Nó được hát vào cái khoảng thời gian mà cái chế độ nô lệ vẫn còn hiện hữu ở Mỹ. Và sau đây thì chúng ta sẽ cùng tìm hiểu là chế độ nô lệ là như thế nào.
In 1619, in America, the black people first were brought from. Okay, sorry. In 1619, the first black people were brought to America at the first time and worked as servants. Servants mean that people need to be working like to serve the masters, but getting very low salary and treated not very nice. And just a few years later, there was no one know why there was all slavery from everywhere in the south of Africa, the South of America. So you can see in the map, this was the freedom states. This was the north, also free, but this whole part, the dark gray one, is the southern states, or called the slave state. Why just only slavery in the south, not in the north? Because in the northern states, there was a small farm, but not many people. And in the southern states, there was a large farm and a wonderful land for people to working, but just a small number of people. So that means they need extra workers, but not much money to pay them. So after the Civil War, the Africans were given no legal rights at all, and most of the whites think that slavery was the perfect answer, and the black people were the slave traders importing Africans to America and working as a slave. As you can see here, there is. Can you guess what is this? What?
Is that cotton?
Yes, it is cotton. And this picture here, cotton. Yeah. The cotton is a thing that like there was a boom in cotton. Means like so many cotton grow up in the southern states, and they needed more workers as ever. But in 1807, the British ended the slave trade, so there was no more slave at all. So the southern states need to like selling and buying the black people.
I know. I think one was the ocean.
Yes.
Side. The ocean side.
So here is the pictures, like showing how people selling, how the white people selling the black people in the slave auction.
Really, I don't think.
Okay. À bên này. So the black people after like selling, they need to be working as a slave. They need to be working very hard, like hard work, meaning the sun is very hot, but they need to be working all time by hand and with no any transport. Yeah, no any transport. Yes. And as you can see, there's a very young kid need to be working on a plantation, like as any adults here. That means when they are trading the slave, they're not just selling a people, they're selling a whole family and a whole generation. So from the oldest to the youngest, they have no legal rights, no civil rights, no freedom, or even more, their own time to be doing something, they don't have any, and that's what they're really ashamed. And that is all of the story about slavery and how it began. Thank you.
Là cái vấn đề về nô lệ nó bắt đầu là khi mà ban đầu khi mà Mỹ được khai phóng, bắt đầu được khai hoang á, thì đã có khá là nhiều người da đen ở đó, nhưng mà người da đen lúc này là vẫn chưa phải là nô lệ, mà họ chỉ đơn giản là đầy tớ những cái người chủ da màu. Nhưng mà sau dần thì những cái người đầy tớ này á, họ bị đối xử rất là tệ, mặc dù họ vẫn có lương nhưng mà lương thì thấp. Thì sau này, sau một thời gian khi mà dân số phát triển và nhu cầu tăng lên á, thì cái vấn nạn nô lệ hắn bắt đầu diễn ra khi mà ở miền Nam nước Mỹ là một cái vùng rất là phù hợp cho trồng trọt và chăn nuôi các cái việc liên quan đến đồ điền. Thành ra là họ cần rất là nhiều nhân lực, mà nếu mà họ thuê nhân lực từ nơi khác làm thì sẽ không có đủ chi phí, thành ra là người ta xem là việc mua bán nô lệ là một giải pháp rất hợp lý, và từ đấy nạn buôn bán nô lệ nó bắt đầu diễn ra. Thì sau đó là khi mà có một cái gọi là cơn sốt bông của toàn thế giới diễn ra, thì miền Nam nước Mỹ lại cần thêm người để làm việc cho các đồ điền đó nữa. Và sau đó một thời gian nữa thì người Anh họ ngừng cái việc mua bán nô lệ, thành ra là cái nguồn cung nô lệ cho nước Mỹ bây giờ không còn nữa, mà họ phải tự trao đổi với nhau, và dẫn đến việc những cái cuộc mua bán nô lệ trong nước là họ bán người mẹ, người cha bán cả gia đình hay là gì đó, thì cả nhà không có bất kỳ quyền quyết định, mà họ được bị bán như là một cái món đồ thôi, là mất hoàn toàn giá trị của một con người, không có lương, không được đối xử như một con người đồng đẳng, mà chỉ là một cái đồ vật để phục vụ cho nhu cầu của các chủ đồ điền.
So, and in that time, when the slavery had been existing for a long time, and there a man, his name Abraham Lincoln. He was a man who really wanted to give the freedom for the black, and with that dream, he declared a law to have the slave can be stand in the same level with the white people. But it is side is influence to many plantations in the north, in the south. All the honor in that was worried that his decide was making the income of the south of the north was go down. So for that reason, all the government of the southern state was breaking away and make the union in the north and against the federal of in the south. And for that reason, when the conflict is really highest, the war was began, and it's called the Civil War. But before that time, in the south, many slaves was dying each day in the hot, drought, and in plantation. They're very thirsty for freedom. As a result, many of them was trying to escape to the north, because in the north have many good jobs, and they can have a good work, have some money, and the best is they have their freedom. And one of them was Harriet Tubman. Then she was born between 1820 to 1825 in a family which was a slave in Maryland. Every day, from the first day she worked, Harriet had been beaten like a drum from the owner. Yes, and she very hated her life. And in one day of 1849, Harriet Tubman with her brother was decide they have to run out of this hell. But however, on the way, all of her brother was give away. They very scared, and they turned back to the plantation. Oh my God! But Harriet Tubman, she never gave up, and so that she would come to the freedom. And after all, Harriet reaches safety to Philippines, one of the states in the north, and have a good job. I feel like I was in heaven. What was she said? She said when she come in there. But in December of 1850, she came back to Maryland to help her family escape at first. And next to that, she was carrying all the black slaves to the north. For that reason, the reason for this was she saw there were many people in the same situation with her. So he decided that she must have helped all of them. And from 1850 to 1861, she made many trips and helped over 300 black people get out alive for us. She's so clever, and she never lost her passenger. When she became a part of Underground Railroad, a group of were directing for the slave to freedom. She very famous in system and everybody was looking good at her. All the white owners were so worried. They tried to hunt as hard as they could, but they never caught her. Never anymore. To describe Harriet, we can call her like a boss in the underground with a strong will. If you are the slave in that time and you want to run away, she will threaten you with a gun. Because she never wants the secret system, the Underground Railroad, come to the owner of the plantation. After that work, she became a public speaker in the north and thought for the woman rights and the anti-slavery. During the Civil War, with her talent, she would work like a cooker, a nurse, a spy for the Northern Army. And after all, she did a social reform after the war and helping for the black people. And finally, when in 1930 she died, and it's the end of the people who was helping, and the first step about the black people would they try to find their freedom.
Thì là cho dù chế độ nô lệ ở miền Nam rất là thịnh hành, nhưng mà người miền Bắc họ không cần do là cái đất đai đấy thì hẹp và dân số thì nhiều, cho nên là họ đủ nhân sự để làm trên đồn điền, và như vậy dẫn tới một tình trạng là miền Bắc họ muốn giải phóng nô lệ, họ muốn xóa bỏ chế độ nô lệ trên đất Mỹ, và từ đó và điển hình cho những nhà cầm quyền có mong muốn này là Abraham Lincoln. Thì khi mà ông lên nắm quyền thì ông tìm rất nhiều cách và ông tuyên bố là ông rất muốn gọi là xóa bỏ chế độ nô lệ, và như vậy tạo ra một cái cuộc mâu thuẫn giữa các bang miền Nam và các bang miền Bắc nước Mỹ. Thì những bang mà muốn duy trì chế độ nô lệ lập thành một cái liên minh và đối đầu lại với lại với lại chính phủ đương thời, thì sau đấy dẫn đến một cuộc chiến gọi là nội chiến Mỹ. Thì khi mà cái cuộc nội chiến này xảy ra, nó cho những người nô lệ một cái ý tưởng là trong họ bắt đầu có một cái ý tưởng là họ sẽ chạy trốn, tại vì khi đó là miền Bắc họ có những cái chính sách mà làm cho người da đen không còn làm nô lệ nữa. Thì có rất nhiều người da đen đã bỏ trốn để đến miền Bắc. Thì trong đó có một người rất là nổi tiếng là Harriet Tubman. Bà này thì Harriet Tubman được sinh ra trong một cái đồn điền trồng bông vải ở Maryland. Thì từ lúc nhỏ đến lúc trong quá trình trưởng thành thì ngày nào bà này cũng sống một cuộc đời như một nô lệ hết, rất là cực khổ. Thì người phụ nữ này bà ấy đã nuôi cái khát vọng được tự do, và sau đó đến một ngày bà ấy khi mà nghe tin là hình như là sắp bị bán đi, thì bà ấy quyết định là sẽ chạy trốn để đến với tự do. Thì trên đường đi thì có người đồng hành, nhưng mà khi mà mọi chuyện trở nên nguy hiểm hơn thì những người đồng hành với Harriet Tubman đã bỏ đi, trở về lại cái đồn điền để sống cuộc sống nô lệ như cũ. Nhưng mà Harriet Tubman quyết tâm không bỏ cuộc, và cuối cùng là bà đã đến cái đích đến của mình là Philadelphia, một bang mà nằm ở miền Bắc và không có chế độ nô lệ. Thì lúc đấy bà ấy cảm giác như là mình đã chạm tay được đến với tự do vậy. Thì sau đó một thời gian, Harriet Tubman quyết định là mình cũng phải giúp đỡ những người đồng cảnh ngộ để giải thoát họ khỏi cái cuộc sống quá là khổ cực kia. Thành ra là bà bắt đầu gia nhập một cái tổ chức gọi là Underground Railroad để giúp đỡ những nô lệ da đen trốn đến miền Bắc để họ tự do. Thì bà đã làm rất nhiều cuộc hành trình và bà đã giải thoát cho hơn 300 người nô lệ. Và bà được mệnh danh là một người không bao giờ để mất bất kỳ một thành viên nào trong đội escape của mình hết, tại vì là một người rất là quyết tâm. Thành ra là khi mà nội chiến Mỹ nổ ra thì bà đã làm rất nhiều công việc, bao gồm đầu bếp, y tá, gián điệp, rồi cả những người mà họ gọi là truyền cảm hứng. Thì sau đó ngoài đấu tranh cho chế độ để bãi bỏ chế độ nô lệ thì bà còn đấu tranh cho bình đẳng giới và nhiều thứ khác nữa.
In 1965, when the Civil War was ended, the United States Constitution was changed. Slavery was banned, and black men were given the right to vote. But black people in the South soon lost these rights again. Southern states passed laws to stop black people from voting and keep the separation of blacks and whites. This system of racial segregation was called Jim Crow. The Jim Crow laws kept white people and black people apart as much as possible. and whites were separate, of course, but also schools, churches, places for eating and drinking, trains, buses, hospitals, and prisons were separate, and they were separate cemetery too. Here is a sign to the black people's waiting room. The word colored here means black people, like their skin color. And they have a separate waiting room, separate from white. And this sign is very
People are protesting. It's a protest.
yeah, protesting. Yeah, there's very, very yes, it's very casual.
Yeah. Peaceful. Peaceful. Peaceful protest.
This is the black seat. It's of roots colored only here. Yeah, so the slavery was ended, but there was still segregation and separation between blacks and whites.
Thì sau khi mà nội chiến Mỹ kết thúc thì phe miền Bắc giành chiến thắng và dẫn đến việc hiến pháp của nước Mỹ thay đổi, và như vậy cái thay đổi này đem lại quyền bầu cử cho những người da màu. Nhưng mà thực tế thì ở miền Nam nước Mỹ câu chuyện vẫn chưa dừng lại ở đó, vì những người da đen nhanh chóng mất đi cái quyền bầu cử của mình bởi những cái đạo luật khác của Obama. Thì như vậy và cái đạo luật này không những không cho người da đen quyền bầu cử mà còn chia tách họ ra khỏi người da trắng, tức là phân biệt chủng tộc. Thì cái đạo luật này được gọi là luật Jim Crow, và nó bắt buộc, từ đó dẫn đến cái việc phân biệt ra là người da trắng có những cái khu giải trí, những cái cửa hàng mua sắm riêng so với người da đen, tức là họ không đụng gì đến nhau hết, sống trên cùng một đất nước nhưng mà là hai thế giới. Và nó là thì trên này là những cái ví dụ về việc phân biệt chủng tộc giữa người da trắng và người da đen tại Mỹ. So in between that situation, there's a story I want to tell you. That this is Rosa Parks, a woman. She's an American African, so she also suffered through discrimination and segregation too. And she is just a normal woman, just like us. She looked nothing special. She had nothing special except this one. She has been a member of a civil rights group for a really long time, although she never broke the rules. But one day, things has changed, and Rosa Parks decided to do something that caused a movement to change the world. It was December 1st, 1955. In the evening, Rosa Parks got on a bus that was only a few people on it, So she sat into a random seat because she was so tired. And usually, black people are not allowed. Black people have their own area to sit, and where she sits was where the black people only sit when there's no white standing. And soon the bus got packed, and every black has to left the seat and give it to the whites. But on that day, Rosa decided to stay in her seat. And in my opinion, it was a really courage thing to do, because usually not many people dare to do that, because if they mess up with the whites, if the black mess up with the whites, they may got beaten or embarrassed, or really bad things happens to them. And when Rosa decide not to move, lots of thoughts, lots of opinions came to that story too. People say that she that was a wrong thing, or say bad things about her, but someone supports her because they feel that she do the right thing, and it might change something. But at the moment, it's not like that, because the bus driver soon gets angry, and he called the police to arrest Rosa. And then she has to call E.D. Nixon, one of her old friends, and a civil rights group leaders. And he came to pay for her bail so she could come home until her trial. But that night, E.D. Nixon decided call other civil rights group leader too, because he decided black people have to do something together. So Rosa may not be the first person to get treated badly and unfair, but she might be the last if they do something. Thầy Rosa Parks là một người nữ, người Mỹ gốc Phi, thì bà cũng trải nghiệm qua cái sự phân biệt chủng tộc, và mình đã thành ra là bà rất là ghét cái điều này, và bà trở thành một trong những thành viên của cái nhóm đấu tranh cho dân quyền ở Mỹ. Nhưng mà trước khi cái sự kiện này xảy ra thì bà chưa bao giờ phá bất kỳ một luật nào cả. Nhưng mà ngày hôm đó, thay vì nhường chỗ cho một người da trắng, thì bà quyết định ngồi lại trong chỗ ngồi của bà, bởi vì bà nghĩ là mình nên làm gì đó, hoặc là do nhiều lý do khác. Nhưng mà sau đấy thì cái hành động này dẫn đến việc là phải bị đưa đến đồn cảnh sát vì đã phá luật, và những người da đen họ quyết tâm hợp tác với nhau, cùng đồng lòng để làm một cái cuộc biểu tình, một cái chiến dịch để họ có thể giải quyết cái vấn đề phân biệt chủng tộc này.
In December 5, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, someone people start a bus boycott social protest campaign to against the policy of racial segregation. They stopped, used the bus and walked. And the campaign lasted from December 5, 1955 to December 20, 1956. The cause of the event is Rosa Parks, a black woman. She was arrested because she refused to surrender her seat to a white person. The campaign sponsored by Martin Luther King and the participants of the boycott had three demands. One, the bus driver must be kind to everyone, including black people. Two, no more white and black seats. Whoever comes first should have the seat. And three, some bus drivers should be black. The city leaders is very angry because the bus are losing money and the white shop owners are losing money too. And the white police start to harass black people for no reason. Dr. King had a hate mail
and a bomb exploded back after 2000. The black people chose non-violence, and 1 year later, in December 1956, the city leaders accepted the boycott demand. The boycott come to end lasting 381 days.
Khi mà cái điều mà những người da đen họ quyết định sẽ làm là chiến dịch tẩy chay xe bus, thì những người da đen họ quyết định là họ sẽ không đi xe bus nữa, vì họ thấy là như vậy là, và họ quyết định mở một cuộc biểu tình. Và cái chiến dịch này kéo dài và cái động cơ cho cái chiến dịch này thì chính là bắt nguồn từ cái hành động của Rosa Parks vào cái ngày đó. Thì cái điều này ảnh hưởng rất nhiều đến những người da trắng. Thứ nhất là những công ty xe bus họ bắt đầu hao hụt nguồn thu, do là trước đây là khoảng 2/3 hành khách là người da đen, người da màu, và những cái cửa hàng ở trong trung tâm thành phố cũng bị thiệt hại, do là những người da đen bây giờ họ không vào trung tâm để mua sắm nữa, họ mua sắm ở những khu vực gần nhà họ để di chuyển, và nó gây ra rất nhiều ảnh hưởng khác. Như thế thì nhà cầm quyền họ rất là bực bội, họ rất là bức xúc với điều này, nhưng họ không làm gì được, vì những người da màu đã chọn một chiến dịch quá thông minh khi mà họ không làm hại đến ai hết, và họ chọn cách đấu tranh bất bạo động vô cùng hiệu quả, nhưng mà không hề gây tổn hại trực tiếp đến bất kỳ người nào. Thì cái chiến dịch này kéo dài trong khoảng 381 ngày, và họ đưa ra một điều kiện để kết thúc là có 3 cái chủ yếu. Là thứ nhất là những người tài xế xe bus sau này thì họ phải lịch sự với người da màu và cả người da trắng, không có ghế ngồi riêng cho bất kỳ sự phân biệt nào. Và cuối cùng là phải có tài xế da màu lái xe bus để đảm bảo công bằng cho những người đi. Thì sau khi mà chính quyền họ đồng ý với những chính sách này thì cái cuộc tẩy chay xe bus kết thúc trong thời gian kéo dài là 381 ngày.
And now we come to some little
Entertainment.
some little entertainment. Because I think we have to some relax. And now, we was telling to you about to us imagined story is influenced from this story about Rosa Parks. Its story is told in my option. If we are a person in the bus when the Rosa Parks in the bus was in beginning, and we are in there. And now it's my story. I remember that black woman was sitting on a bus. She was a little lady, but her mind and willing was bigger than any man in the world. She inspired for many people have life of a slave, like me, to stood up and get the right and equality for us. I wasn't there when happening. Now I start to tell you about that story. It was a cloudy day at the bus station in my city. I had been working. I was a flight cleaner in the small restaurant. After I had to work hard, it was very late. I go to home by bus. That's why I went to the bus station and got on. There were many people, black and white, was sitting on. In the middle was Rosa Parks, the lady who would break out the rules. But now she was so tired and I didn't care about her. I was sitting down in the seat full of light behind her and took a nap. When the bus wheel was starting to turn on, the bus driver saw some white passengers want to get got on. He turned back and told we, the black one, have to lift out our seat for the brightest people. At the first, no one left out. All of us were very tired. It looked like we didn't want to give away the seat, and I'm very worried about this. And when the bus driver angry and shout again, and I was stood up and went back to the bus. And then no one told again. Every black was slowly standing up and going to the back. It was extremely normal when we was living among the white society. Nobody stood up and broke away that law. Each of us are setting to be the slave in the eyes of white people. When we were standing at the back, there was another sound from the front. Some of us looked back and thought there was only one person was still sitting on her seat. It was she, Rosa Parks. The little woman asked the angry people around her why she had to left out her seat. The bus driver and some passenger in the bus was trying to change her mind, but she was so strong and sprightly when she said no with the man who was having an angry fit with her. I was surprised, and everything happened later. The angry driver threatened that he would call the police for the oppose. He got out the bus. After that, many people in the bus was getting noisy. They were asked and they shouted. Someone was hitting in her chair very hard. But in the middle, Rosa Parks just ignored them and sit very comfortable. I wonder why she can keep him before the pressure they gave for her. And I so admire her. And I don't know what thing can help she can do that. I don't know, and I didn't know, and I don't know. But her act was telling that we can against the rule, which was rooted me down. It wasn't only me about that. I can feel every black person want to stand up too. And when Rosa Parks had been took out the bus by the policeman, we were so angry. We left out the bus after the police had gone, and in our mind, we just thought, we have to stand up.
This is my creative writing about Rosa Parks. It's a misty atmosphere that late and dark evening. I coached the bus as usual to the coffee shop to hear my violin teacher play. I stepped on the bus with a sense of expectation, excited to listen to my teacher new piece he had composed. Suddenly, a booming voice broke through my top. This was from the driver. He shouts at the black people who were sitting on the seat to give up them to the white people who just got in. All the black people suffered to move except one. She looked like a middle-aged woman, seemed really tired after a long day of work. She spoke seriously. No, I will not move anymore. The way she spoke made me realize that we can fight for our seats, our equal rights. But the driver ignored her. He called 2 policemen to address her. At that time, I was a bit nervous, but felt really inspired by the way she dared to stand up for her seat. Then I got off the bus and entered to the coffee shop. It was very crowded and most of the customers were white. But they, unlike the order, they support and help black, white people to come together to live in peace. I sat down in the corner as my teacher started to play his new piece. The piece was inspired by the black community vie for their rights. That night was the beginning of many protests and civil rights and equality. Yeah.
Because our writing are too long, so you guys can drink a bit water and enjoy.
Not too long.
Imagine you are a black passenger on the same bus as Rosa Parks and you share your story. So here is my story. It was a normal day in December. I was going home late because I had missed the bus. I am Ariana Moody. I've been studying at a private high school for just only black students in Montgomery. It was a terrible day while some students in my class were so annoying. They were disrupting the lessons, shouted and blamed at the new white teacher. But rather than being upset, she was really calm and continued teaching and wrote down the disrupted student's name. And after a week, I knew she's a good teacher because she always treated equally both high and low score students. Especially some disrupted students will have her focus. And while I got my head in the cloud, a woman came and sat down next to me. She seemed very tired, dragging her feet to the middle of the bus like this. And I was not annoyed by this woman because she reminded me about the new teacher. Is she also tired and powerless for the annoying student? I just looked out of the window and my mind was empty a few minutes. Then, oh my god, I just looked, the bus moved on, but some few minutes, the front were full, but white people would not stop getting on. The bus driver saw that, so he told us that the black people to move to the back of the bus. Unlucky, all the seats were full already. That was not the first time this thing happened. So at first, no one moved, but after the driver shouted at us, we all got up and moved to the back. Me either. I sighed and moved to the back. But there was an incredible thing that Rosa Parks, the woman sat next to me, didn't move. She stayed in the seat. And she said, no. The bus driver got off the bus. The passengers were getting noisy, and the whites shouted at her, get off. Some passengers spat on me. Right after that, the bus driver came back with 2 policemen. I heard Rosa Parks ask them, why do you push it around? And they answered, I don't know, but the law is the law, and you are under arrest. Then she got off the bus. She must go to the police station and then go to trail. During this situation, I didn't speak any word, but just like the way I was speechless when the new teacher was being segregated by the black students. I realized that even when the people are not black, they still not be respected by other people, especially when segregation was so hard, even on the bus. Therefore, I decided to speak up and to encourage my teacher to not give up, help her to get in well in the class.
Yahoo! It was a chilly afternoon. I was full of energy to get on a bus and go to the theme park. I was excited. When I got on the bus, I saw 4 blacks inside. 2 blacks were sitting in the middle of the bus. I knew them. They were crazy street guitarists named Bacho and Michael Yin. Next to them was a student. She was sitting at the front of the bus but it is against the law for black people to sit there. So the bus driver told her to move to the middle. I saw her name on her name badge. Ariana Moody. And the last black person was a woman called Rosa Parks. She was well known for her courage, but I think it is self-destructive. Soon all the front seats were taken and the driver saw that more whites were getting on. He told the black sitting in the middle to move to the back, but it was already full too. At first, no one moved. Then the driver shouted at them and they all gathered except Rosa Parks. She said no and stayed in her seat. I thought she had created a problem, but she looked very tired. Maybe she couldn't stand all the way go home. Ariana Moody looked annoyed. She had moved from the front to the middle and also the back. For the last time, the bus driver told her to move, but she didn't. So he got off the bus and came back with 2 policemen. They arrested her and got off the bus. I thought I admired her bravery, but she was arrested for her behavior. However, she inspired the black community to fight for their rights. Finally, the bus arrived at the theme park. I was quite uninspired to go to play after the incident. While walking and buying a ticket, I kept thinking about it until a super familiar, joyful scream rang out. I turned towards the direction of the sound and saw Anne, my friend, on a thrilling ride that spun in the sky. At that moment, the thought of Rosa Parks completely flew out of my mind, and I started to have a great time at the theme park with Anne.
That's really great and writing about Rosa Parks. It was a remarkable day, December 1st, 1955. Everything was normal, like the other days, except what I'm gonna tell you. An unexpected story. It happened in the evening. I was sitting on a bus with my mom, coming home. At that moment, there were few passengers on the bus, so we sat on whatever seats we wanted. But these were only temporary, like always. After a few stops later, there would be more and more passengers, mostly whites, getting on the bus, and we would have to leave our seat because black people weren't allowed to sit when a white needs to stand. I had a friend on the bus, Rosa Parks. She is really kind to me. I often talk to her when I'm bored and my mom has something on her mind. On that day, that destined day, Rosa seemed tired. She just sank into a random seat and sat there, silently and exhausted. More and more people got on the bus. Then my mom and I got off our seats when the bus driver shouted out, like always. But Rosa didn't. Mother asked her to get off her seat, but she stayed still. The bus driver then shouted at her in a way I would say that was really rude and harsh, especially with women. And it made me worried for Rosa. The bus driver looked furious right now, but Rosa did not move at all. People tried to convince, warn, or even embarrass Rosa, and not for either. The bus got noisier and noisier. Many passengers seemed as furious as the bus driver, and all attention draws to Rosa, the black woman who sat while the white still standing. The bus driver then left the bus for a while and came back with 2 policemen. Everything became chaotic. My mom and I tried to leave the bus as we didn't want to And I heard policemen say, "You're under arrest" when I get on the sidelines.
Okay, now we come back to the integrated school. Every transformations also have to face with challenge. In 1954, an incident occurred. The Supreme Court declared to teach black and white together after a long fight for freedom. In Little Rock, Arkansas, the governor went against the Constitution. He is Orville Faubus. He called out state soldiers to stop 9 black students from entering the school. The black student planned to call all the black to come to school as a group. But the family of one student, Elizabeth Eckford, didn't have phone to receive the message. She is Elizabeth Eckford, only 15 years old, had to endure an angry mob. The story starts from December 4th in 1957. Elizabeth Eckford came to school. When she got closer, she saw a line of guards around the school. Nearby, a crowd of white students shouted and tried to hurt her. But the guard didn't interfere, still get some white through. She realized that she could not have any help, so Elizabeth Eckford walked toward the bus stop. Finally, she got on the bus in safety. After President Eisenhower had to send U.S. Army soldiers to protect the poor black students as they entered the school. All that year, white students attacked and threatened them. Then, in the fall 1958, Governor Faubus closed 3 other schools, rather to follow the Constitution.
Thì sau rất là bất kỳ một cái sự thay đổi nào, tất nhiên là cũng sẽ gặp cái phản đối của nó. Thì khi mà cái Supreme Court của Hoa Kỳ, tức là gọi là gì có tòa án tối cao của Mỹ đưa ra sắc lệnh là bây giờ không có trường riêng cho người da màu, người da trắng nữa mà thành hợp nhất lại, thì nhận được rất là nhiều sự phản đối. Và trong đấy có một câu chuyện rất là một cái scandal nổi tiếng tại Little Rock, Arkansas. Thì nhà cầm quyền ở khu vực đấy là ông Faubus quyết định là gọi là huy động lực lượng vũ trang của bang đến để ngăn chặn không cho những học sinh da màu đi vào cái trường trung học đó, vào trường trung học phổ thông đấy. Thì các cái học sinh người da màu trong trường học đấy quyết định bàn với nhau là họ sẽ để cho con của họ cùng đi đến trường theo một nhóm để có thể tự bảo vệ nhau được. Nhưng mà trong số những học sinh đăng ký học trong ngôi trường đấy thì có một gia đình là lúc đấy là vẫn chưa có điện thoại, không nhận được thông tin. Và thế là học sinh này, tức là cô Elizabeth Eckford, đã một mình đi đến cái ngôi trường mà rất là nguy hiểm trong thời gian đó. Thì khi mà cô đi đến thì cô gặp một đám đông đang đứng chờ và một hàng bảo vệ xung quanh trường đeo vũ trang gọi là đầy đủ. Thì khi mà cô đến thì mọi người bắt đầu chú ý vào cô và họ đe dọa, và không, đúng hơn là họ ngầm đe dọa. Thì sau đấy họ đuổi theo cái đám đông này, đuổi theo Elizabeth Eckford và nói những điều không tốt về cô ấy. Thì cô ấy nghĩ trong lòng ok chắc là mình đến cái chỗ của mấy ông bảo vệ, mấy ông sẽ bảo vệ mình, tại vì mấy ông có vũ trang mà. Nhưng mà sự việc hoàn toàn ngược lại là khi mà Elizabeth Edward đi đến đối mặt với cái ông bảo vệ, một trong những ông bảo vệ đó, thì người ta cầm súng ra và đe dọa cô này. Và những người xung quanh bắt đầu hùa nhau, hét lên là mình phải kiểu đe dọa, và Elizabeth Edward sau đấy phải tự xoay sở trong cái tình huống đó để thoát ra an toàn. Và rất may là thì sau đấy gọi là tòa án tối cao quyết định gửi quân lính đến để hỗ trợ cho những học sinh da màu để đi học được, đối đầu lại với lại lực lượng vũ trang của bang. Thì sau đó tại bang Arkansas thì họ quyết định là đóng cửa luôn 3 cái trường học thống nhất đó, vì những nhà cầm quyền đã quyết định là thà không có trường học còn hơn là để học sinh da trắng, học sinh da đen học với nhau.
Return to our main topic, but now return to our creative writing again. So this is our remain creative writing about the school integration in Little Rock, Arkansas. We write as the first view of Elizabeth Edward. So this is my story. I remember 10 years ago, exactly the 4th of September 1957. That day was quite special for us, black high school students. But I didn't expect it was even more special and memorable after everything happened that day. That morning, I was having my breakfast with my family. My mom made some waffles for us. At that time, we were poor. We didn't even own a single phone to receive any announcements from my school. The neighbor was our only news reporter. A day ago, I just got an announcement from my neighborhood friend Michael about the school integration. I thought, what if I could be Michael's classmate? It would be great, said Michael. With that excited mood, I quickly finished my breakfast. However, as I ate, I could sense my mom's anxiety. I said goodbye to my mom and dashed to the bus stop. As I got on the school bus, my body froze for a second. Michael wasn't there. It was strange. We always went to school together. I even couldn't remember the last time we didn't go together. I was a little disappointed at that time. My excitement started to fade, but that was not the only thing. I began to feel confused and nervous after I realized there were no black students on the bus, except me. What a day, said to myself, I was alone. After some hesitation, I decided to get off the bus and walk to the school. I kept looking for Michael while crossing a few blocks, which wasn't too far from our school. When I got closer, I finally saw Michael standing near a guard under the school gate. Guards? I wonder, why are there guards here? Then suddenly, a shiver ran down my spine. That's when I realized that at that time, I got closer to the school. Everyone started staring at me. And like the situation on the bus, I was the only black student here. Then someone shouted, "Here he comes!" And a group of people that looked unfriendly started to follow me. I felt scared. I could hear my heart beat faster. I thought the guards would protect me if anything happened, so I came closer. But when the guards saw me, they held up their guns. Then the crowd started to say bad things about me. A man came in front of me and said, Who do you think you are? Get out of here, you stupid nigger. Lynch him, lynch him. The crowd shouted. No nigger is going to our school. That really shocked me. At that moment, I understood why my mom was worried. I tried to look for Michael again, my only hope and consolation. But he wasn't there. He had gone away. The crowd looked more agitated. I looked down a block and saw the bus stop. I thought I will be safe if I can get there. So I headed to the bus, while the crowd kept following and threatening me. I only wanted to sprint as fast as I can to it, but somehow I could not. Unlike last time, now I just wish that I could get on the bus. After a while that seemed like an hour, I finally got it. I found a comfy seat to relax and calm down myself. Some people were still yelling me names. I didn't want to hear or be involved in anything out there. Then the image of my mom appeared in my mind. A tear rolled down my cheek. What a day, I said to myself, on the same bus.
That is my story. Hello, my name is Deborah. I am 65 years old. Today, I want to tell my story when I'm 15 years old. That morning was my first day at my high school. I saw a long line of roads around the school, and there was also a crowd of white people nearby. While I walked closer, the crowd standing there began to follow me and call me names. I was a little scared, and I thought when I got to school, everything would be fine. But no, the guard there wouldn't let me in or protect me. The crowd came closer. Too scared, I tried to run back to the bus stop. When I finally got there, I could not go anymore, and the crowd became crazy. While I was desperate, there were some white people who helped me. When the bus came, they helped me get on. They are angels, God bless them. And now I am old. I married my wife, and we live in Canada. But that story became a nightmare and has tormented me every time.
That was a bad day for me. December 4, 1957, when I was 15 years old. Like every morning, I woke up a little bit early and ate my breakfast. I went to my school by bus. Everything is fine until I stepped out of the bus. Many white people are irritated, and someone spat on me. Someone tried to hurt me, and the worst thing was everybody seemed angry with me. I tried to pass the crowd, but the crowd blocked. They kicked me, and I was half a little bit nervous. They came toward to me. It made me stuck, and I turned back and started to run. I just run until I get out of their sight. I sat down and think, why, what I wrong? Why they doing that with me? I feel encountered with the wound, my thing going back, lying in the bottom of the hell. Right then, an angel came to save me. The angel set up a middle amen. He come forward and helped me find the way to enter the school safely. After that, I remember about that like a experience most of it was butter, very spicy.
It was a beautiful morning. The blue sky filled of soft clouds and a little bit of sunshine shone down the street. In my heart, I knew it was a special day because today was the first day I went to a new school. I got up early to prepare myself, ready to make this day a memorable one. All because I was extremely excited to see new friends, new faces, and join new classes. It was expensive, and my mom had to work really hard to study at the school, and I was appreciated to enjoy every second of it. But today I felt my brain break. After studying all day, I made my way out of school, and surprisingly, a group of white people approached me. They pushed me down and shouted at me like I have done something wrong. I tried to resist, but they used their power and strength as a helpless black student. Fighting back seemed like nothing. My hope shattered as they looked repeatedly when I tried to pack my things back. They would be worse. That time, everything that I had imagined was destroyed in front of my eyes. Finally, I ran with all my strength and stopped at a small place where my tears began to run down my cheeks. I couldn't stop crying. This wasn't the first time I had been treated terribly because I'm a black person. From when I was a small kid, I have seen my family receive lots of bad words, unfair treatments, and insults. So I thought I could feel similar with this situation, but sadly, the answer was no. Those tears that run the temper was because I was disappointed in the school, but because of how I have been treated my whole life. And then I ran to my house. The sky became darker. It was rain like my feeling right that time. This was an awful memory that I wouldn't want to look back on in our society. That's divine. We will never be treated nicely if we are not standing up to fight for our civil rights. Now everything had changed. The law was better. Everything turned to the equal life, and I was happy about that. But the injury would never go away from my heart. And let's go back to the presentation. And after many interesting information that everyone have here from my friends, and I will also present one of the important things that can help to stop this discrimination based on skin tone. And the topic that I want to share is freedom riders. So, what is freedom riders? Can anyone have a guess? Freedom riders is a group of civil rights activists who travel on buses through the southern United States in 1961 to protest against racial segregation. And at that time, even though the Supreme Court had ruled the segregation on buses was illegal, but many southern states continue to enforce it. And the freedom riders include of organizations like the Congress of Racial Equality (CORE) and the Student Nonviolence Coordinating Committee (SNCC). They wanted to draw national attention to how the segregation still happening and how people were violently resisting change. And during their journey, they faced a lot of violence. In Anniston, Alabama, a mob attacked one of the buses, slashing the tires and throwing a firebomb inside. In Birmingham, another group of riders was beaten by a mob, and while the police did nothing. Despite the danger, the freedom riders kept going, showing great courage and determination. Their efforts led to the federal government stepping in. Eventually, the Interstate Commerce Commission (ICC) put new rules in place that bans the segregation on interstate buses and at bus terminals. The actions of the Freedom Riders were a key part of the civil rights movement, helping to challenge and change discriminatory practices in America.
Cái hoạt động ở tại trên bus thì cái hoạt động freedom của cái tổ chức core, tức là Congress of Racial Equality, là cái hoạt động freedom rider. Dịch ra nôm na những người đi tự do là những người tự do, thì họ cũng thách thức cái chế độ phân biệt chủng tộc, đặc biệt là đạo luật Jim Crow ở miền Nam nước Mỹ. Thì cái hoạt động này là họ là những nhà vận động, không kể người da màu hay người da trắng, không kể giới tính hay là tuổi tác hay là ngành nghề hoặc là kinh tế gì cả, mà họ cùng đi trên một chuyến xe, họ cùng đi trên các chuyến xe với nhau, ngồi cạnh nhau, xem như là thách thức cái luật phân biệt của Jim Crow. Và họ đi từ miền Bắc đi xuống sâu phía nam nước Mỹ, thì vừa đi họ vừa đưa ra các cái thông điệp của mình. Thì những chuyến xe này không được êm ấm. Thì ban đầu lúc ở miền Bắc thì mọi chuyện khá là ổn định, khi mà việc mà đấu tranh vận động như vậy là quá bình thường. Nhưng mà ở phía miền Nam nước Mỹ thì mọi chuyện nó tồi tệ đến không ngờ, khi mà có một chiếc xe đã bị đánh bom, đã bị phá hoại. Có một chuyến xe khác thì họ lại bị tấn công bởi những cái nhóm người da trắng đang bất mãn, và họ đánh đập những nhà vận động trên đấy. Và rất nhiều, và còn một vài chuyến nữa họ bị bắt, những người trên đấy bị bắt bỏ tù vì đã xâm phạm, đã gọi là phá luật Jim Crow. Nhưng mà những nhà vận động cho cái tham gia vào chiến dịch này không hề vì thế mà bỏ cuộc, mà những cái chuyến đi Freedom Riders này nó vẫn cứ tiếp tục và nó thách thức cái sự phân biệt chủng tộc của chế độ lúc đấy.
When the black people standing up to fight for freedom, there was the very famous person. He is Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was born in 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. He was a black activist fought for civil rights, and with his ideology is non-violent being to peace in fountain of language. He was believed that violence could not change anything. When he was 26, Martin Luther King became famous in 1955 as the young leader of Montgomery Bus Control. And in the year that followed, Martin Luther King went everywhere in South of America, led peaceful mass demonstration, tried to change people's idea that black people are worthy to be treated equal. And he was proclaimed civil rights for black people in America. On August 28, 1963 in Washington, D.C., Martin Luther King gave his most famous speech about civil rights and that his children would one day live in a world without racial discrimination and gradually civil rights movement became so powerful. Congress finally passed this. Gradually, civil rights movement became so powerful. Congress finally passed the Civil Rights Act. This movement, step by step, was changed in the old American. In 1964, Martin Luther King was given the Nobel Peace Prize. But when he 39 in May 1968, Martin Luther King was assassinated at a protest in Memphis. This event was a regret for all Americans.
After the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964, America gradually transformed into different countries. In 1965, the black finally could have right to vote in practice, not just in theory. It gave the blacks more opportunities in a society. Since then, there were numerous black politicians and police chiefs. Generally, black Americans joined into the political arena, as well as entering many different professions and roles in society. Newly elected black politicians made the South change completely. History of USA turned into a new chapter, where the black was no longer playing as an assistant role in society, but as one of the main component role. And 40 years later, an historic event happened. There was a man, a hero of black American. Ladies and gentlemen, hey.
They say.
This handsome man right here is the hero of black America. In November of 2008, he was elected as the first black US president ever. His victory was recognized by the former and outgoing President George W. Bush, who said, "Obama's election is the triumph of American dream." Throughout the country, all the black family were full of happiness. No one could believe it happened, the thing that many had thought impossible. In this sense, black Americans had won a big victory over 400 years of slavery and segregation and racism. But was Obama the answer of all black problems? Of course not. Black unemployment is still twice as high as for the whites. and black have worse housed in schools. More young black are in prison than in college. However, his victory showed how people's ideology had changed. It was the powerful symbol that inspired many people around the world. Nowadays, America has become a better nation. The number of black politicians and managers is the highest ever. And the black middle class never been bigger. Although racism still exists in someone's mind, but the problem were not they were 20 years ago. And at least the young people are less racist than their former generation. And that is our story about the black people in America, a lesson from a great history of humankind that worth to think about. This is some other heroes of the black. First black woman to work in the U.S. Supreme Court, and first African American women in space. Major David Evans. Who's that? Ophthalmologist.
Okay.
So now we would like to invite you, all the audience, to sing a song with us. The song, What a Wonderful World of Louis Armstrong. I see trees of green,
Roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so clearly in the skies, also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They're much more than I ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful